What's up, guys? It's Caleb from KCNE Studios, and today I'm going to be reviewing the fourth movie of the Gamera Showa series, Gamera vs. Viras. So, I'm going to talk about the story, then I'll get to my thoughts, and I'll give it a rating, 1 out of 5 stars. So, the story is that there's these aliens, and they come to invade planet Earth because they think it's a whole lot like their old planet, which I guess is pretty cool considering what they were saying beforehand. And then Gamera pops up, and he basically destroys the ship, and then the credits roll, and there's that amazing Gamera theme song. So then the the movie cuts to this like Boy Scout camp, and that's where it introduces the two main characters. Now this I have a really big problem with. The two main characters are children, and everyone knows that the children in the Gamera movies really suck at acting. It's true. They're really bad. Whoever decided to continue doing Gamera movies, having children as their main characters, not a good idea. Now, this is the first Gamera movie to have its main characters solely as children. In the previous 3 movies, there was a child in some of them, but they weren't necessarily the main character, is what I noticed. This is the first one where the children are the main characters. So it follows these two children named Masao and Jim. Yeah, that's their names. So, and Masao, he's a lot like what was his name? The kid from the Goonies who's like really good at technology. He's kind of what he reminds me of, but a lot less cool because I don't know. The kid in the Goonies that I forget what his name is. Data. That's right. Data is a lot cooler than Masao from this movie. But they're somewhat alike, is what I noticed. Masao, he's very like smart and stuff, and then Jim, he's just kind of the American kid in the movie. Another thing that I noticed, they throw in an American kid who's friends with a Japanese kid in pretty much the rest of all these other movies, which is like a big cliche for the rest of the series, for the rest of the Showa series at least. But anyways, so it introduces them. They go do all this stuff for their Boy Scout camp. Like there's this submarine, and they got to go inside of it, and they see Gamera. But then the aliens come, and they put this big like bubble thing around Gamera, and it traps the kids in the submarine too. So Gamera, it like whenever he tries to touch the shield bubble that he's like captured in, it like shocks him. So he just picks it up and lets the kids in the submarine out, which I kind of have it kind of has a scientific problem with it, but whatever. I mean, because aliens should have been smart enough to make it to where they can't move it at all, which, yeah, that kind of really bugs me there. But anyways, later, the kids end up getting, like, abducted by the aliens. They're in the ship for a while, and then meanwhile, the aliens, they basically they telepathically, like, control Gamera. So they make Gamera go and like destroy the parts of the world. I mean, pretty much just Japan. Sorry about that. They make Gamera go destroy Japan, and this I also have a big problem with. All those scenes where he's like destroying stuff, that's all stock footage. Yes, this is the first movie to use a whole lot of stock footage for the Gamera series. Yeah, I'll give my thoughts about that later, and I promise you I will. But then, so Gamera's destroying stuff. The kids are on the ship, and then the aliens later they go out and say, or they don't go out of their ship. they like do this voice thing or whatever and say, "Hey, we're gonna destroy the world." So yeah. So one of the Japanese military people, they tell the parents that like, okay, so the people of the United States military, they're kind of having a discussion, um, and we're waiting on a phone call from them. They're talking about whether we should attack the ship and let your children die, but save the rest of the world, or surrender to the aliens so these two children can live. And so the kids on the spaceship, they get called from this like cell phone watch thing that the kid invented, um, and they get called by like the mom or the dad or the sister or something like that, who also had one of the watches, and they said they're telling them about the decision, and then they get called by the United States military, and they say, "Well, we're just gonna surrender so these two kids can live." That was a very smart decision. I mean, like, you would rather these two kids live and the rest of the world become like enslaved by the aliens or whatever, or destroyed, or go back and fight and probably get this done very easily, because they could do it they could have beaten this ship so easily, but they decided to let the children live, which was a very, very bad decision, and it's a very unrealistic decision too. I don't think they would have had to ask the. I honestly don't think the kids would have like gotten the permission to ask or something. But that's just real life. That's my opinion. But the kids, they're on there. They're like, "Oh, we'll sacrifice ourselves so the rest of the people can live," and they're like, "No, no, no, it's okay. We'll just give up against the aliens." And so then the kids, they find a way to escape, and then the aliens on the ship, or the alien on the ship, which is basically like this weird squid thing, which has a really poor design, I feel. Like, the quality isn't that bad. They should have just gave him a better design. If they're going for an octopus look, they should have made it look more like, I mean, it looks like an octopus, but like, they could have given it a much better design is what I'm saying, because it looks really bad. So the alien thing like busts out of the ship. Actually, before that, I want to say something. So, before it busts out of the ship, the alien thing, it was like it had these like six other human like minion things, and so he's like the the minions. They're like the kids escaped, and so then this really weird part happens. Like, this is a children's movie, mind you. The alien squid thing tells them, okay, but I'm gonna have to like sacrifice you people to win. They're like, okay, what? And then the squid alien thing, it like hits his tentacle and knocks off all the other people's heads. It just decapitated these people. And like, this is a children's movie. Like, what the heck? And so then the people who got their heads chopped off, they turn into squids, and then the squids, they like go and morph into the other squid so it can like grow bigger, and then that's where the fight scene happens, which isn't a bad fight scene. I'll give it that. It's alright. I'll give it like 2.5 out of 10. I don't know. It wasn't that bad. But I will say this, during the fight scene, uh, Viras, the alien thing, what it does is its head has tentacles on it too, so it makes its tentacles into like a triangle or whatever. Illuminati confirmed. And it stabs Gamera in the stomach, and Gamera doesn't even die. In fact, what he does is he puts his head or his limbs and stuff into his shell, and then he bursts the flames out and flies up into the air, and then just like tilts over upside down and makes Viras fall. that was kind of disturbing too. There's another scene in the movie where the American kid, he has like a lasso, which I just realized how like ironic that is. I'll talk about that in a second. Um, but he's got a lasso, and he sees one of the aliens in the spaceship, and he tries to grab its arm, and he pulls it back, but the arm comes off. It's like, what the heck? And then the arm like flies back into the alien person's like arm. I'm like, what the heck just happened? My jaw literally dropped after that scene. There's so many like, what the heck did I just watch moments. But anyways, Gamera ends up winning, and the kids, they're all safe, and they're like, goodbye, Gamera, and stuff like that. So, my final thoughts on this movie, well, it was just, it had so many, like, weird moments. The part with the lasso thing that I was telling you guys about, um, I was saying it's ironic because it's an American person with a lasso. Maybe they think, like, Americans are all, like, cowboys and stuff. Uh, but whatever. I'm not offended at all. I'm from Texas. I'm okay with it. So, the movie, okay, Gamera suit is alright. I mean, I've gotten used to it with the rest of the other Gamera movies. I'm fine with it. It's somewhat turtle-like, too. I would just say it's kind of stiff. Viras' suit, however, is absolutely a horrible design. I guess you could say it's so bad that it's good. Um, but it's a pretty bad design. They could have gone a much better design. If they're going for a squid, look, they could have done something better. Like if you heard of Cthulhu, they could have done something like that. But I don't know. I just thought it was really weird. It was also really really creepy too. I noticed. Um, so part of the story, Viras, he doesn't show up to like the very very end, basically, or not the very very end. Like, let's see, 1/8 through the movie, that's when he shows up and becomes big and fights Gamera. The story, I didn't really care for it. The kids are awful, but trust me, they would be much worse in the American dubbed version. And I'm very lucky that I have the Japanese version. Otherwise, I would hate this movie a lot more. But I'm gonna give it a fair review. Whether it was the Japanese version or American version, because I know the Japanese version is what the original one. And I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. So, yeah, I'll get into my rating. So, on a scale of 1 to 5, I'm going to give this a 1.5. The lowest would be like a 0.5 or something. So, I guess I would say a 0.5. Never mind. But I would give it like a 1 to 1.5 because it's just a really bad movie. I felt like. I mean, you look at Godzilla's Revenge, I think I would rather watch Godzilla's Revenge instead of this. Also, there was a lot of stock footage. Like, what the heck? Come on, Dad, you're better than this. Um, another thing as well is showing the stock footage from the other previous Gamera movies, like it's showing the fight with Gamera versus Barugan. I'm like, geez, I sure wish I would be watching that movie instead of this one right now. That's my thoughts on this movie. I didn't really enjoy it, and I feel like it's gonna get much worse later on. And the next movie is Gamera versus Giran, I think. So, yeah. There you go, guys. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't, and I will be seeing you guys next time. Bye-bye.